Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting of the Daviess County Fiscal Court, October 19, 2023, to order. Commissioner Conder, if you'd lead us in the prayer and the pledge, please.
Thank you, Judge. If everyone could, join me in prayer. This prayer that I'm about to speak was written and said by my wife at the last Rooster Booster Day. I think it needs to be repeated, and everyone please take to heart. God of all, we thank you for the gift of today. We ask you to bless all of us here. We thank you for the challenges and opportunities you send us each day that allow us to be a reflection of your love and faithfulness to everyone we encounter. Help us to remember that each of us is unique and created for a purpose. Help us to appreciate our freedoms, how we react and respond to people and situations that are placed in our lives. Thank you for allowing us to live in a country where we are free to disagree, but help us to accept and respect our differences. Help us to drown out those narratives that really go against your love, and that is a reflection of you in all we do. Thank you for us to grow in our understandings and acceptance of others. Bless our community with abundances and success, especially those who seek to use their influence to lift up and encourage others to be their best selves. Those who give back and pay forward. Bless our leaders, those in government and the decision makers in positions of authority, those who have the power to say yes to ideas and dreams of thriving in a caring community. Thank you for our health and our safety. And most of all, in this time of world conflict, that those in the Middle East, your most holy city, that we find peace and we understand each other, and one day we can understand what that really means. I ask this for your blessings today and always. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, Brooke.
1, consideration for presentation. A, Treasurer's Report for September of 2023.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes, Judge. As of September 30th, 2023, the total cash balance is $68,736,834 for all funds. General fund balance is $28,707,400, minus operating reserve and restricted funds. Cash for general fund operations is $19,893,236. All variances within the Treasurer's report are normal, expected, and explainable, and I have nothing else to report.
Any questions of our treasurer from the commissioners?
No.
Hearing none, thank you. And Brooke, next item.
2, consideration for approval. A, minutes of the October 5th, 2023 Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. We've all had the minutes for some time to review. Are there any, additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
B, all claims for all departments.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Are there any questions for our treasurer of the items on the list of claims to be paid?
No.
Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
C, lease agreement with Western Kentucky Raptor Center.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Mr. Ross Lee, thank you for being with us.
Judge, thank you for the opportunity. Tonight, I present to you for your consideration a lease agreement between Daviess County Fiscal Court and the Western Kentucky Raptor Center. The Raptor Center is a nonprofit organization dedicated to the rehabilitation of injured and orphaned birds of prey. Currently, at Yellow Creek Park, they are capable of servicing about 8 birds at any one given time. And currently, they are servicing a total of about 300 animals that they are rehabbing. So let me explain to you why it is that we are only doing a 1-year option on this lease. Essentially, it has become a mutual understanding between myself and the Raptor Center that it would benefit them to be able to have these birds at a different private site located on Jones Road. It's a property that they own where they are rehabbing these other animals. And so we are presenting them with this 1-year lease so that they have that amount of time to be able to remove their facilities from Yellow Creek Park. Those are all property, those muses, the bird houses, if you will, were all constructed by their volunteer labor. It's not anything that the county has any money in, and we are looking at trying to be able to get them successfully moved out of Yellow Creek Park again within that next year.
Okay.
So I would recommend approval.
Thank you. Mr. Brasher, do you have anything to add or no? Okay. Any questions for Mr. Lee?
No.
Commissioner Conder?
Thank you, Judge. Ross, so the
Yes, sir.
current 5 buildings will be taken down within whatever time frame it takes to be able to get those taken down, and then the land itself will just be brought back to just grass or anything like that, correct?
That is correct.
And the Raptor Society is the ones that's going to be responsible for doing so?
That is correct.
Okay.
They essentially are made aware of what needs to be done with regards to moving. They built the muses to be transportable. So
Okay.
if at any time they needed to be able to move them 10 feet one way or the other, that was very simple to be able to do. The original design and plans for this 15 years ago that Eric and I originally conceived of didn't come to complete fruition. And so they have transitioned some of their leadership as well from Eric Miller, who has signed this agreement on behalf of the Raptor Center, over to the Allen family, who owns the property on Jones Road. They all have the federal permits it's required to be able to do the rehabbing. So it works out perfectly fine.
Thank you, Ross. And then one other small comment, if I could make.
Sure.
Concerning Yellow Creek Park in particular. Recently, I think the Judge Caslin changed the hours.
That's correct.
And when the park is open for this coming November.
That is, starting November 1st, we will go to 7 p.m. closings as opposed to 5. Obviously, a lot of people get off work at 5 o'clock in the evening. We have lit pickleball courts, and that is the only lit pickleball courts anywhere in the county or the city. So we will have an additional 2 hours each evening to be able to allow people to come out in the month of November to be able to play pickleball.
What type of comments have you gotten so far?
Very positive, very positive.
Excellent.
There are a lot of people that are very interested and very happy with that decision.
Thank you, Ross.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Anyone else?
No.
There being no more questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Thank you.
Next item.
D, second reading of KLC 910.7, 2023, 11-2023, an ordinance relating to goals and objectives of the comprehensive plan.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
And a motion is second. First of all, is there, for purposes of the legal process, do you need to read anything into the record? I think I should, Judge. Okay. If you would, please.
Thank you. An ordinance relating to goals and objectives of the comprehensive plan. I'll just go through the whereas clauses. Whereas on the 14th day of September 2023, the Owensboro Metropolitan Planning Commission held a public hearing and approved amendments to the comprehensive plan goals and objectives pursuant to KRS 100.193. And whereas the Daviess County Fiscal Court has carefully reviewed the amendments to the goals and objectives, and finds that the Owensboro Metropolitan Planning Commission developed this element of the comprehensive plan by appropriate research, analysis, and projections pursuant to statute. This is the enactment clause. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of the County of Daviess, Commonwealth of Kentucky. And then there's 4 sections where basically the court will adopt the findings of OMPC. This is the second reading, so there'll be a vote. That's all I have.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the commissioners or Melissa and Brian? I see you're both here. Would y'all like to speak to this briefly like you did last time, or you good? All right. If you would, I think we should. There might be other watchers tonight that
Absolutely.
didn't watch last time.
Okay. Yep. So what you have before you is the amendments to the goals and objectives. Like we discussed previously at the last meeting, we held, several meetings and met with local elected officials, and the amendments that you have in front of you are those as proposed by Daviess County Fiscal Court. And at the Planning Commission meeting, it was voted to approve those. The amendments that are made to the comprehensive plan goals and objectives are to be more positive in tone generally, and to take out some negative wording in some things, and they're pretty minor amendments as it goes.
Okay. Let me ask you, just for the sake of the public, and I see that this particular ordinance is our ordinance, but do the city of Whitesville and the city of Owensboro vote on these changes to the comprehensive plan too, or do they vote only on their own?
No, so the goals and objectives of the comprehensive plan are for the city of Owensboro, the city of Whitesville, and Daviess County. So it is the goals and objectives for the entire community. The city of Whitesville actually has already approved the goals and objectives. We're waiting on first reading for the city of Owensboro still.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions of the commissioners for Melissa or Brian?
Not for me.
Okay. Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And I would be remiss if I didn't thank both of you for your work. I know you met with David and myself a number of times. I know you, through the entire process, you went through, your job at the Planning Commission, met, and also the public hearings you had. So I want to thank you for all that work that you did. Thank you. Next item, Brooke.
Memorandum of Agreement with the City of Owensboro and Daniel Pitino Shelter for the 2023-2024 White Flag events.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Got a motion and a second. Mr. Johnson.
Yes, Judge, this is an agreement that Daviess County Fiscal Court and the City of Owensboro execute annually with an entity to provide shelter to individuals needing safe, secure, and hospitable temporary overnight accommodations during severe cold weather. The Daniel Pitino Shelter is the entity providing on-site security and management during a White Flag event for this agreement by means of a dedicated staff member, with the city and county sharing the cost of that staff member equally per the terms of the agreement. The Daviess County Emergency Management Agency will coordinate transportation on the weekends and provide specified supplies for any event. EMA Legal and myself have reviewed the agreement. It is in order, and I would recommend approval.
Any questions or comments by the commissioners? I just want to say that I want to thank Harry Pettigo and Andy Ball for their work that goes way back to when they first started this process. When we first started the White Flag process, we found our community in need of some guidance and some criteria, measurable criteria and defendable criteria to use. And I want to thank them for their work in continuing this, and also Nate Pagan over at the City of Owensboro for being partners with us on this. So with that, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Next item.
F, award RFQ 2324-28, 5 sets of turnout gear for fire rescue.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Mr. Johnson.
Yes, Judge, this quote is for the provision of 5 sets of turnout gear for the Davis County Fire Department. We received 3 responsive quotes and recommend pursuing the lowest and best evaluated quote submitted by Atlantic Emergency Solutions in the amount of $17,377.10. These are budgeted replacements to meet national standards. Atlantic Emergency Solutions is a known vendor. There were no exceptions, and I would recommend approval.
Any questions for Mr. Johnson?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
G, purchase 1 narcotic canine unit and handler training course for the sheriffs.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second, Mr. Johnson.
This quote is for the provision of 1 narcotic canine unit and handler training course for the Davis County Sheriff's Office in the amount of $18,500. The current canine unit has an estimated service period of 1 year remaining. To ensure that there is no lapse in having a unit available and to accommodate the annual training period, Sheriff Youngman is requesting that Fiscal Court consider purchasing this unit such that he does not have to wait until January of '24 to include it in his budget proposal, which would elongate the process. Cedar Creek Kennels Incorporated is a known vendor. They come highly recommended as they are utilized by the majority of law enforcement agencies in the region that have canine units. This is a professional service since the agency must be certified. Sufficient funds are available for the expense, and I see no issues with the request.
Any questions for Mr. Johnson?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Next item.
H, reappoint Nathan Berry, served a half term, to the Owensboro Health Incorporated Board effective November 1, 2023 through October 31st, 2026.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. I want to thank Mr. Berry for his service to our community, and all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next item.
I, reappoint Tom Lilly, served half-term, to the Owensboro Health Incorporated Board, 3-year term, effective November 1, 2023 through October 31st, 2026.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second. Got a motion and a second. All those in favor, excuse me, I want to thank Mr. Lilly for his service to our community as well. And actually his is a partial term because it's and that's okay. It doesn't matter. His is a partial term because his is actually a newly created board appointment. So, but this lines his up with per the hospital's request to line up with the other board appointments. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3, consideration for discussion. A, other business to be brought before the Davis County Fiscal Court. There is none that I'm aware of. B, public comments.
This is part of the meeting where we invite the public to come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and speak to any item other than items that were on the agenda. Do we have any takers this evening? I see none. Okay. Next item.
C, comments by Davis County Fiscal Court.
Mr. Conder.
Coming back at you, hang on. Let's see, a couple of things, please. This weekend is the first annual Harvest Festival to be held at the Davis County Fairgrounds. Saturday from 10 till 6 and Sunday 12 to 6. Parking is $5, which will also be going to a charity. And then, just as a further comment, Rosemary and I did attend in Richmond, Virginia, the Harwood Institute's Community Summit. And basically it boiled down to 2 questions, even after 3 days of training and listening. Number 1, what is your community talking about today? You make that list out. Second, what should we be talking about today? So these conversations are going to be held. They're coming in, I believe, within the next 2 weeks to have various community meetings for those type of conversations to be held. So be on the lookout for it, please. It is time intensive, and I believe worth everyone's while to do so. The last thing is, and I believe there are others that have had these phone calls. Continue to get phone calls from some of the farmers and residents in the Panther Creek area about flooding, even though currently there hasn't necessarily been any issues because of the lack of rain. But I do believe that we need to, if we can, continue that effort of trying to figure out what can we do with the cooperation from the state, hopefully, to be able to address those issues, because I keep getting those calls all the time, and we need to do something, is what we need to do. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Commissioner Conder. Commissioner Caslen.
I don't have anything.
Mr. Marksberry.
Thank you, Judge. I just had a heavy heart this week, as I'm sure most of you have, with the tragic world events that are going on. But a bit of good news locally here. We did get our dog pens in at the animal shelter. I'm just happy for the volunteers out there, because they do spend a lot of time and effort trying to help, and really appreciate them. And I second Commissioner Conder's comment about, and I know that it's being worked on, to have a meeting, try to meet with the farmers, meet with the state, see what we can do to help with any flooding issues. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. I will speak to the issue of the drainage first. We did receive, after a massive rainfall that we received back, I think, in June, each of us received a number of phone calls from a handful of farmers that were very frustrated with the drainage and their experience with the flooding. I did tell them that there were a series of things that I would look into, and I have been doing that. I've had a number of meetings, both with staff and also with a Zoom meeting with the Kentucky Division of Water, and I've had conversations with neighboring judge executives, what they are doing as far as conservation districts, and we are moving forward at this point, I would say, with gathering information with what paths we might travel. Don't have anything to present tonight, and I don't have a definite timetable on when I will have something to present. Commissioner Marksberry has reached out to me multiple times with a little bit of frustration, and I appreciate her patience with me. But I've reiterated to her that this is a long time situation. The prior fiscal court paid for a significant study to see what we might do to improve drainage in this community. Ultimately, the price tag was substantial, and so no action was taken. Mr. Smith has done a considerable amount of research. This is not anything new, and I understand you are new as commissioners to this, and so you're new to having farmers call you with complaints about drainage. And I understand that puts a bit of pressure on you, but this flooding issue is not new to our community. Mr. Smith did a bit of research and goes back hundreds of years, documented complaints and frustrations with flooding in our community, particularly the area you mentioned, the southern part of the county. So having said all that, I'm continuing my work as far as, I call it a multi-pronged approach, research that I'm doing, and when I have something to share, I'll share it. So the only other thing that I'll say, I believe this is our last meeting before Halloween. We usually get calls from people. My predecessors have, and I have as the county commissioner in the past, about Halloween and what the schedule is for trick-or-treating and all that stuff. And that is not something that county government sets any rules on. And so I would encourage people as Halloween approaches that you be cautious as the young ones go out trick-or-treating, and be very careful that you don't run over anybody so that they can have a pleasant evening trick-or-treating. Let's see, I think we have one more item on the agenda. Yes.
4, consideration for approval. A, enter into closed session per KRS 61.810 1B. KRS 61.810 1B, deliberations on the future acquisition or sale of real property by a public agency, but only when publicity would be likely to affect the value of a specific piece of property to be acquired for public use or sold by a public agency. No action is expected to be taken on KRS 61.810 1B.
Need a motion?
Motion to go into closed session.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. And as Brooke said, and when what she read, we will not take final action. And so all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And again, we will not take final action.